Paul, welcome back on Sherdog. How are you today?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Yourself, you good?
I'm good. The King of the North is here. May I ask you, where does your cool nickname come from?
Do you know what it is, mate? When I was starting out, it was Game of Thrones was on a lot, and it was pretty much Game of Thrones, mate. And the fact I'm from the North, so I kind of played in pretty well.
Are you disappointed with the Game of Thrones finale, or do you like it?
Disappointed.
Oh. Whom have you imagined sitting on the throne eventually?
There's a lot to choose from. There's a lot to choose from, and you've put me on the spot. It's like that's a long thinking process answer that.
All right. Maybe we can follow up with another interview after your fight, and maybe you will have some time to think about it.
I'll have a lot more time to think about that.
But jokes apart, you're preparing to take on Mauro Cerilli on September 29th. How is your preparation going for this fight?
Yeah, it's going good. It's I'm week I think it's coming to week 3 because it was a 6-week fight notice. So I believe it's coming up 3 weeks on Saturday, so 2.5 weeks in. It's good, man. Just upping the training. Obviously, I train all year anyway. I just up the intensity now. It's going good.
It's going to be your first fight in more than a year. We're going to discuss about your latest fight in a little while, but was that your choice to stay on the sidelines for so long, or you weren't offered a fight before?
I just wasn't offered a fight, mate. I've been asking for fights, but just this is the first one this year I got offered.
And how have you spent the last year?
Training, pretty much, mate. Training, just trying to improve on my skills, trying to learn more and become a better fighter.
Now that we mentioned your latest fight, on that occasion, initially it didn't go according to plans. You were taking on Martin Batur, and that fight, ended with your opponent winning via TKO. Then the result was overturned. I'm going to ask about that in a little while. What was your strategy for that fight?
Well, my initial thought for that fight was basically keep my distance, so be as much out of range as possible, or be as close as range as possible for my reach. Because obviously he was a tall boy, long arms, long legs. I needed to be all the way out or all the way in, and I was doing that up until the point where he took me down, unfortunately.
And after the fight, the result was overturned. Were you upset? Were you, pissed off that Batur popped for banned substances?
Yeah, I was disappointed that obviously I put a lot of hard work in, and to have my skill and ability basically get lowered because of someone who's been using substances. Yeah, it affected me definitely, because I kind of questioned if I was good enough to be there, but the fact that he was doing what he was doing and I was in the position I was in during that fight, I guess maybe I am meant to be there. The fact that I knocked him down, I was close to finishing him, and he had substances to help him recover. So
was that a sort of boost for your confidence, in your
don't get me wrong, initially when I found out, I was pissed off and I was annoyed, but it kind of made sense. It made sense, and it made me feel actually a little bit better. And the fact it was turned into a no contest, I was pleased about. It's a loss took off my record, so I'm happy with that.
And I mean, those shots, were you affected by them in any way? Of course, I mean, we saw the stoppage, but afterwards, did they have any long-term effects? Let's put it like this.
Well, it was just I was still with it, but he was just obviously raining down punches, and Herb called it. I got some stitches in my mouth and my ear, a black eye, but anything too damaging. I don't think it is anyway. I'll probably find out when I'm about 50.
you're still looking for your first victory in one. How much would it mean to you to score it against Mauro Cerilli?
Oh, it would mean so much. He's an established fighter. He's a big name. He's had a fair amount of fights in one. To get a win over him would be fantastic for my career.
And may I ask you, how come you're confident that, or can you tell us why you are so confident that it will happen against him?
The training, basically. Ever since my last fight, I've just kept training. I've done a lot more work on my ground game and my wrestling, defense. Everything that I've been doing has been elevated now. I've basically been traveling a few different places to train. So I'm still at Akurei, still training there, but I'm also training up TFT. I go down to Wigan as well to train. So it's overall it's improving.
I read that you're coming a soccer, or how we call it, football background. Is that true?
Yeah. When I was younger, yeah. I stopped playing at 17.
What position were you playing?
I was left wing.
Oh, nice. So you had to run a lot.
I was fast, yeah.
What motivated you to transition from soccer or football to combat sports?
So I started kickboxing when I was 15, so I was obviously playing football at the same time. And I kind of fell out of love with football due to the fact that you have to rely on all your other teammates to involve you in the game. You're obviously getting the ball and whatnot. And as politics came into play, coaches and stuff like that. And with regards to fighting, it's just you. So anything happens, it's all on you. So I kind of like that side of things. You couldn't blame anyone but yourself, basically.
So did you find more meritocracy in combat sports?
More what, sorry?
More merit, like meritocracy, did you find a healthier environment in combat sports, not involving politics and what you were mentioning before?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And obviously when you train different gyms, everyone's 9 times out of 10, everyone's respectful, and because most of the time people who do this have nothing to prove. They're all usually nice people. So yeah, definitely.
Are you still watching football?
Do you know what? I don't. All my mates watch it still, but I don't. I don't watch it. It's not something I keep on top of. Like probably for the last, I'm going to say it, probably 10 years I've not watched it.
Ooh, okay.
Don't
What was
I
the team?
on roughly because my friends obviously watch it.
What was the team you cheer for, or do you still cheer for any teams in the?
I don't cheer, but I did used to be a Manchester United supporter, and because I'm not from Manchester, you'd call me a glory supporter, is what I'd get called.
So yeah, so I mean you're not following anymore, but now that that City is doing a little bit better than United, it's quite a rough time for the Red Devils, right?
Yeah, it was role reversal, isn't it? Yeah.
Can I ask you a prediction for your fight?
I think I'm going to finish him in 2, personally, round 2.
And
I
do
think
you see that happening with strikes or submission?
strikes. Everyone knows I'm a striker.
I know that, I knew that, but I had to ask anyway.
Don't get me wrong. If the submission's there screaming at me, I'll do it. But it's normally it's the strikes avenue I take usually.
And you are already accustomed to travel to Singapore and fighting on the other side of the planet?
Yeah, this will be my 4th time I've gone out there. 3rd time I've fought. The first time I went out there, I don't know if you knew about that. My opponent had COVID, so I had to fly all the way. But I understand that the time difference is a nuisance, but that's just part of fighting over there. Like they're 8 hours ahead of us. I have to become accepting of that because that's where the shows are. It's a long travel, but it's all part of it.
Were you referring to your scheduled fight with Anderson Braddock Silva?
Yeah.
Was that frustrating for you on that occasion?
Oh God, yeah. It was the first time, obviously, competing on a big stage, and then obviously all fight week it was on, then it was off, and And then I was fighting a kickboxer because his opponent failed his COVID test. So I had midweek, I was going to be having a kickboxing fight, which I was fine with. And then he went back to Anderson because he was clear. And then just before the event, he failed his COVID test again, so he was off. That was a bit of a here, there, and everywhere time. It was a strange time.
Yeah, I can guess that. I can guess that. Paul, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time today. Best of luck, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that.